Welcome to Talkin Bull, a podcast designed to help UTK students excel in and out of the classroom. We're your hosts, Lindsey Campbell and Ben Carroll.
How's it going, guys? We kind of wanted to introduce this just so we could help out finance students and HASM students overall. Just give them some knowledge of what we wish we would have known whenever we were younger, especially freshman, sophomore. It would have definitely gave us a little bit more of an edge. We've definitely been able to make it through all of our dedication and work, but there's definitely some tips and tricks that we'd like to pass on and kind of interview some people as well, some seniors, kind of go through some pathways of what they've gone through, like Torch Fund members and so on. So that's kind of the basis. So what are we going to talk about? Backgrounds?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about our backgrounds. You want to kick us off?
Sure, I'll start. So I started at UT in 2021 in the fall. And as a freshman, I kind of didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do coming in. I just knew that I wanted to be in business. I liked working with people and communicating a lot, so I thought maybe something more client interfacing, like wealth management or something like that. But I wasn't 100% sure. So what I did was I got involved with organizations as soon as I possibly could. UTK was my first organization that I joined in my freshman year. And I'm now the president of it, which is pretty awesome to see how far along that's come. It's been great to be able to get involved with things, and I think it's the most important part around HASM because there's so many things to get involved with. I mean, there's really a million different things you can get involved with, and so many things that if you stay involved, you can get leadership positions, and it'll help you out a lot. Not only just having that on your resume, but it will teach you skills and also the people that you connect with doing that. So, I've been a part of UTK since my freshman year. And FMA is another great one. FMA New York trip's a lot of fun to go on. You learn a lot, and you get to talk to some really cool people at top companies like B of A. We also got to go to the New York Stock Exchange and see an IPO happen, which is pretty awesome, hearing them ring the bell and everything. But I'd say the New York trip is definitely the favorite part about FMA. But UTK's been my favorite group to be a part of. I've learned a lot being in there, both with just personal, but also financial stuff with the trading competition is an incredible way to get involved with, no risk trading with our $100,000 portfolio that you get to just muck about with. Definitely make some mistakes, which you learn from, but a lot of good things you learn from that. And let's see what else. That's kind of it right now.
Yeah, like one of the reasons we decided to make this podcast is because Ben and I have both been able to make the finance department our home and really have been able to get involved in a ton of things which have really elevated our experience at UT. And so we really want to help other students, especially younger students, kind of figure that out and give them some advice through hearing from our stories and from other students who, have really been super successful here. And so kind of going back to my time at UT, I'm a senior now. So it's been a while. I came in, during 2020, during COVID. So it definitely was harder to get kind of involved. It took a little more time, but I knew I wanted to major in finance. The first thing I got involved in was Tennessee Capital Market Society. And through my involvement in TCMS, that's really where I was able to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I quickly realized through the mentors that I had created that I wanted to do investment banking. And coming from UT, not a lot of students do banking, and so it definitely is like a harder thing to do, but getting involved in finding those mentors is exactly how I was able to get there and score my internship and then later on my full-time offer to go after school. And from there, sophomore year, I got involved in more finance organizations, different areas around campus, but finance is really where I found where I've been the most passionate. I want to be in the MLC at all hours. I love the group of people we work with here, but I got involved in Financial Management Association, just went on the New York trip, which is great. My favorite part was Bloomberg. It was awesome to be there, especially, we have Bloomberg behind us right now. I got involved in WinFin when it was first created, and also UTK. And then also I founded and now the president of the Excel Modeling Club, which is a super different kind of finance organization, which we've been able to, have a more hands-on experience, which has been really great. I've loved like being a part of a founding organization. And then I also, with Ben, work here in the Master's Investment Learning Center, which has probably really shaped my experience at UT, and is definitely like, if you're looking for either of us on campus, this is where you find us. Yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit about us. And so we kind of want to kick it into, some of the things that have made us who we are today. And I think a good place to start is UTK and our new finance book club. If you want to talk a little bit about like.
Yeah. So one thing that we are always asking each other is like, do we have any recommendations for, podcasts or books to read or stuff like that? And so it's kind of like difficult to find those things, especially because so many books and finance are so technical, and they just get into the weeds. And it's like not really a storytelling, it's more of just like hard set coursework stuff. So we wanted to start a book club where we would be able to read some finance books where it also tells a story, but you learn a lot and you're able to keep along with it instead of just like having to take a break every 15 minutes trying to look up terms, or like take a brain break to like just digest everything. So we started this finance book club, me and Lindsey, and so we just had our first meeting yesterday actually, and so our first book was Liar's Poker, and that was a lot of fun to read. Just the culture of the 80s and trading market was pretty wild, and it's changed a lot, but it's fun to hear the stories and also learn from the things that have happened. Our next book is Black Swan, which excited to get into, but any more?
Yeah, we had our first meeting, and it was super fun. Definitely got, like what Ben was saying, it's hard to, read a finance book and learn a lot through it because they're super long and boring. And, the best place to learn is a textbook, but no one wants to sit down and read a textbook in their free time. Yeah. And so, we were wanting to find books to really make students learn through entertainment. And Liar's Poker, I think, was the perfect book to start with. I know now we start throwing like insults at each other that come from the book, which has been really fun here in the MILC. And, it's been a great experience. But yeah, that's also kind of like what led us to start this podcast, because, Ben and I had a conversation a few months ago. Like he was asking me, like he was saying, for book recommendations. And, we wanted to create an area where students can find those books through our finance book club, but then also find information through the podcast. I know for me, I was lucky enough to always be surrounded by older students I could look up to, but I know not everyone is as confident and comfortable going to approach or message an older student. So this is really like the first place that we wanted to create that easy access area for students to learn from us, get connected with the people we have on the podcast, and reach out to them, because that really is the best place to learn anything. I know like there's so many students here at UT, especially our interns in the investment center, that we've really been able to develop close mentorship with. And especially at a school like UT, especially in the finance department, the best way that you're going to be successful after college or even in college is to find those older leaders on campus that you can really, replicate what they've done on campus and figure out like what you're passionate about through getting involved in what they've done. And that is, what led us to do a lot of the things that we do now, which it's been great.
100%. That's one thing I meant to touch on earlier. The MILC has really been like that place for me where I've been able to have those mentorships and like be around specifically finance students, but just leaders. We have all the finance clubs run out of here, and somebody's always working on something for a club or for something, trying to organize something. So just the way that we push each other to do better each and every single day has been great for us. I think it's my favorite thing about being in the investment center is like the relationships we have with each other, the mentorship. I started here my sophomore year and interned my entire sophomore year, and now I'm a junior analyst. I was a junior analyst last semester as well, but it's really just been having these relationships where you could just feel free to talk to each other about coursework, about job interviews, about life, about literally anything. And I think that finding those people that, are more experienced than you and being able to learn from them and day in, day out is absolutely the best thing. So, like Lindsey said, we're in here night or day, basically. Like in here nonstop. We're in here till 10:30 last night, just hanging out, working on stuff and talking. But I think that the MLC has definitely been the best place for me. And if you want to find me there, Lindsey, definitely come here and ask some questions. Doors always open for that. So.
Yeah, it always is. And, we want to create that welcoming space. And I think, like, the MLC has definitely been the highlight of my college experience because of the culture that is here. And I would recommend to anybody, whether it is, working in the MLC or, getting in here by doing Bloomberg Basics or any of our classes that are running in here. But beyond that, finding a group of people with your major who share similar interests in you. Like my first experience with that was TCMS Academy, which was great. Introduced me to, some of the other now senior analysts in the MLC. And that was my first introduction to, friendly competition. For me personally, like my roommates and my friends outside of the finance department are super different from me. And then finding, people who shared similar passions and are equally as competitive as me, just made me so much better as a student and as, a young person at UT of like focusing on, a highly competitive career really pushed me to go after that. And then I also experienced that through the honors finance program, which I know like I've gone through all the finance classes in the honors program. Ben has not done all of them, but I think we both can attest to like the culture and where it is, a little more challenging. It really creates a space where you can rely on each other, maybe you don't do as good on a test or like an exam, but it's like kind of like it pushes you to want to do better, which I think has been great for me. And I'm done with those classes now, but it's still something that I'll always, look back at and be so thankful that I did. And also just like it creates a great relationship with the professors, like Dr. Yates, best teacher I've ever had. And 100%, so thankful for that because it's made me the student I am today.
Yeah. That's what I was going to touch on that as well. The honors program, even if you're not an honors student, just like reaching out to the professor and seeing if you can get into that class. Like I know we're more finance oriented, and I'm can't attest to the rest of the professors. I know that all the professors in Haslam are very dedicated to students and they're always looking to help, but especially the finance professors, like all of them are like so free to talk to you, like anything you need, like you want to talk about something or get some help from something, like they're always there for you to reach out for. I took 308 with Dr. Yates last semester, and that was like an incredible experience. It was like definitely one of the most difficult classes I've ever taken. But like Lindsey said, it like pushes you to want to do better. And I feel like the environment in the classroom is so much more free and active. Like he just like cold calls on like people. So like everybody stays involved and it's just a smaller classroom environment. And so you feel like all these people, like, especially if you go through the other honors courses as well, you're just like with them and you feel comfortable with them. Anybody can ask questions. Like it's just a great learning environment. And if you can get involved with that, I highly recommend it. I'm in 427 right now with Dr. Yates, his second honors class, and I love it. It's so much fun. And highly recommend getting involved if you can with the honors program.
Yeah, I remember like looking back to my freshman year, I was always like, oh, it'd be so cool to have friends in my major. And I think that's where I was able to, first create them and then just grow with them as students as we, went from sophomore year when we took 308 to the first time to senior year when we finished out with 457, the relationships that we developed, like I've already touched on time and time again, but it really is so true. Yeah. The friendly competition and just, desire to make each other better and like, cheer each other on when we land a job offer or have an interview and, practice interviewing with each other. And it's been incredible to have that. And whether you do honors finance or you're involved in the MLC or an organization in the finance department or just in Haslam in general, those are the relationships that are going to make you a better person and a better student. And it's going to be the key to success in college.
Yep. And another thing is initiative. Nobody's going to tell you no, really, if you actively are pursuing something like with a club, if you want to get involved more and you just talk to the leadership and you talk to them and you're like, hey, anything y'all need, I'll help out, whatever it is, like at the club meetings or organizing things, like there's pretty much nobody that's going to tell you no if you want to help out in some way. Obviously don't spam email somebody 100 times about trying to get involved, but I think showing initiative and showing that you care and you're passionate, especially about whatever subject you're in, that if you pursue that, people notice that a lot and they want you to be a part of it if you show that initiative. And I think that stands out just as much as anything.
Yeah, definitely initiative is the first step to being successful. And I think the initiative goes with being confident, and sometimes it's super scary to reach out to someone and ask for like a coffee chat so you can learn more about their career, what they've done. But it really does take that first leap of faith to put worries aside and go for it. And the more and more you do that, the more and more you feel comfortable
100%.
and confident in that, and it just leads you to places that you couldn't dream of now.
Yeah, definitely, especially with like coffee chats or interview practice like that. Just like so many more people are open to talk to you than what you'd think. And if you reach out, especially through like alumni network or things like that, and you can connect with those people, then they're very willing to help you out. And just getting practice, and you never want to sound like a robot and everything's rehearsed, but getting practice over and over again, whenever you get to your actual interviews, it'll just flow easy. Like you won't have to worry about it. And so I would say definitely like what Lindsey said there, like kind of taking that first leap of faith and getting out of your comfort zone. If that's not something that's like, really you're into, is like talking to people and like getting into those relationships whenever you haven't met them before. I know it's tough, but it's definitely 100% something you need to do.
Yeah, it's hard and uncomfortable, but that's like, why we wanted to do this too, so we can connect students to the people that we have on here, or reach out to us, because anyone, especially in the MILC, is so willing and excited to help out other finance students. Really is our job in a sense, as representatives of the finance department, or just students have gone through a lot of the things here at UT in the finance department especially. It's always like that first step, because you don't never want to ruin anything when you talk to someone for the first time. Maybe you don't want to go for a senior person at a job that you want to work at.
Yeah.
That's why you can always start with an older student at UT and work your way up. Maybe someone had an internship at a place that you want to work at, a firm you want to work at. Talk to them first, especially if they're here at UT.
100%.
And it will take you places. They can connect you, and gets that first conversation out of the way.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like we said, we're here to help out all Haslam students, but we'll be able to help out finance students the most because of our experience. But even if you're not a finance student, like 100% feel free to reach out and ask us questions or pop into the MILC or anything like that. We're always here to help out, and we love to help people get more experience and kind of just be more comfortable.
Mm-hmm. So. We kind of want to talk a little bit about the future of the finance organizations that we have here. We're kind of moving away from having speakers that we now currently have, and so now I think is a really good time to get involved in finance organizations, especially maybe the start of next year. All of our organizations in the finance department are moving away from having monthly speakers to having more hands-on learning experiences where you can actually take something away from that. Yep. With UTIG, you can talk about what we're doing with UTIG, but FMA is going to focus on something different. WinFin is focusing on like mentorship. Excel Modeling Club is continuing what we've done this semester with getting hands-on in Excel. Mm-hmm. We have that competition that allows students really use the logic that they've learned through the club and showcase that and learn shortcuts, learn how to format, all those kind of things. But I think that's something that's super cool and something I'm really looking forward to, even though I'm not going to be here, but I'm excited to see what it does for students.
Yeah, 100%. We're still going to have speakers, like the college is still going to host speakers for finance clubs and whatnot, but it's more so about differentiating the groups and saying, I'm a part of this and I didn't just go and listen to somebody talk, because, how are you supposed to apply something like that, especially when you're putting something on your resume. So with UTIG, where the new initiatives we're doing was the book club, of course, that's a new one. Definitely excited about that. And then we're also doing more emphasis on the trading competition and just trading practice and strategy. So we're having bi-weekly meetings doing that, and basically just trying to help people understand more about the market and trading in general. So I think having each organization be able to say that like this is like concrete things that we do is huge, and giving people hands-on practice, like Lindsey said, especially with practical things that you'll need in your jobs in the future, no matter if you're a finance student or whatever, like Excel. Like if you can be extremely proficient in Excel, you'll stand out so far beyond your fellow interns or anything like that. Like I know Lindsey has a lot more experience with that, and she's the president of the club, obviously. But like I know she's talked about last summer with her internship, like how much she learned doing Excel and how much she was able to differentiate from others because of how skilled she was with it.
And then, it's not only the organizations that are that hand-on experience. I also wanted to touch a little bit on the Torch Fund program. I am not in Torch anymore. I'm the TA now, but I did it my second semester junior year, and then last semester, my first semester of senior year. And Torch is definitely the best class I've ever taken, because it's not really a class, it's more, it kind of feels like an internship, but you get credit for it, and it's with a group of students, again, like-minded students that you develop like teamwork with. You learn so much about it, and I'm not going into wealth management after school, but what I learned my first semester in Torch allowed me to really stand out in my internship as well. Like not only knowing those Excel things, but knowing how to analyze companies and research and dig for information. That's something I learned in Torch. Yeah. Learning how to use Bloomberg was such an amazing thing that, Torch really developed as well. Obviously I've worked here for a while, but was never as good as I was when I started Torch and actually had to figure out all these different functions on Bloomberg. But it definitely is amazing, and definitely I would recommend every student in the finance department, or accounting students can do it as well, but to try to do Torch, because it really is unlike any program. Definitely is a little harder, it takes more time than other classes. But the skills that you learn doing Torch are worth all the hours and more that you're going to put into it.
Yeah. And I know I keep harping on stuff like this, but being able to differentiate yourself with those experiences is going to make you stand out on your resume whenever they see something like that, and then they ask you questions. If you're able to convey what you learned and how good of an experience it was, like that will definitely set you apart. And it's just such valuable information to know. Like even if you're, like Lindsey said, not going into wealth management per se, like still having those skills to analyze a company or understanding the markets better. I assume that as business students, you're probably going to invest your money at some point in the stock market or the bond market or whatever it may be. But having that experience and knowledge to be able to do some of that on your own is very, very big.
Yeah, it's incredible. And one of the main reasons we wanted to create this podcast we've talked about before is connect the information that we've learned through our time here as upperclassmen. We were once freshmen and we were once sophomores who didn't know anything. And looking back, I wish I had something like this to help me get there. And so next time we're going to have one of our seniors here in the investment center, Michael Newhoff, who's going to work at a hedge fund next year, talk about his experience and what's made him successful here at UT and what helped him land his job offer.
Yep. Well, thank you for tuning in. I think that's all we got for this episode. But we'll be back here in probably a couple